I'd like to call the meeting of the Common Council to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Snyder?
Here.
Kraus?
Here.
Dunleavy? Here. Rath?
Here.
Wilson? Rose?
Here.
Easter? Here. Schley? Here. Dornick?
Wilson and Dornick are excused. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Motion by Schley, second by Dunleavy to approve the agenda as printed. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. At this time, we'll have citizens forum. This is a chance for citizens to make comments. Please be courteous at all times. Remember that this is not meant to be an opportunity to make personal attacks on any city official or citizen. No applause, cheering, or booing will be tolerated. No action or lengthy discussion can take place as a result of comments made at this time. Are there any citizens that would like to come forward? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Rochelle Loudy, E9189 Loudy Road, Clintonville. It is my wish that the council would discuss the city administrator in open session. In this way, the people would know what is going on and what is being discussed. And maybe someone would even have an idea that would be a contribution to the council. And then there's another thing. At one of the past meetings, I listened to a council member discuss the lighting situation, replacing the lights on the streets in Clintonville. And it was what kind they were going to put up, where you were going to put them up, and how many to put them up. And I have a suggestion. My suggestion is that you replace all of them. And if the poles are taken down, you replace a pole and you put a lamp on it. And if the light is just turned out, then you put a bulb in and you light that lamp. And that's my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle. Anyone else have any comments?
Timothy Zilch, 10th Street, 91.
Thank you.
First of all, you have to excuse me. I usually don't come up here and talk. I just sit back and listen. I do have a couple of comments. They're okay comments. I mean, just, But number one is, I know that you all have lots and lots on your mind, but we need to get a different grocery store in this town. Me and my wife, when we're kids, we have to go elsewhere to get groceries. We can't afford it in here. I mean, it's too expensive. So that's my comment, and I know it's kind of a complaint, but sorry about that. But I'm sure I'm not the only one complaining about that in this town or city. Number two is, just by me sitting back here watching what all you do, a lot of headaches. And to me, you all realize that, finding a new administrator is a lot of headaches. It's going to get worse before it gets better, and I hope that it doesn't. Okay, so that's just my comments. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Any other citizens? If you'd come forward, please.
Hi, Brad Rokas, 213 North Clinton Avenue. I was very thankful that the Personnel committee meeting was available to be listened to online. I think that's an important tool for the citizens. I know it was been thrown around that maybe the recording device in meetings is not a good idea. However, it gives all of us that can't be here a chance to catch up on what's going on, especially when the meeting happens at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. After 5 months of dealing with the city administrator position, I was a little bit shocked to find out that now that she's no longer with the city, which was the intentions of quite a few here the whole time, that it's such an emergency that we have to have 2 o'clock meetings now, because apparently now we have to scramble to strategize what we're going to do without a city administrator. It was a lot of your intentions from the get-go that we were going to be without a city administrator. And through the course of all those closed sessions, all those different discussions about negotiations, trying to find a way to not have a city administrator, that never once, to our knowledge, since it was closed session, was it ever brought up what to do without one. Now we're end of September, getting into the budget cycle. You've got new faces within the city that haven't gone through the budget cycle before. Existing staff is overtaxed with the workload now because you're without a city administrator. In order to alleviate that stress, you have to have a trained individual to come in who will want to come in and take on that workload. Asking current staff to just to suck it up and get it done, they're not going to be successful. You're setting existing staff up for failure. To bring someone else in this situation, in this environment, and at this time of year, whether they're experienced or not, you're also setting that person up for failure. It's your job as the city council and as representatives of the city for this city to be successful. And that's not just the city as a whole, it's the employees of the city. It's not fair to them to be set up for failure, because a lot more is riding on it for them than it is for you. At the end of the day, if you are reelected, you go back to your normal lives. As employees, if you're not successful and you get asked to go home, it affects a lot more than just a little part of their daily lives. So to be fair to the people coming in and the people here, you can't ask the world of them, and a little forethought for what you're doing before it's done probably benefit everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Anyone else care to speak at Citizens Forum? Anyone else? Okay, we'll close Citizens Forum. We'll move on to the recall petition certification of sufficiency. You want to read this, or how does this part go for your certification?
What we are looking for, you have the certificate of sufficiency in order in front of you. What we are looking for is if you agree to accept the certificate of sufficiency and recall order with the election date, as you can see in item 6 being November 18th, 2014.
I'm sorry, Mary Beth.
I have a question on, of the clerk. Peggy, what is the expected cost of this election?
An estimate I gave a while ago was approximately $2,500. I won't be able to tell you, we've never had to order our own ballots and do items like that. Generally at elections, that's handled by the county level, so I'm going to stick with my estimate of approximately $2,500.
And it couldn't be a part of the upcoming election for what reason?
There was a multitude of reasons. The main one was the timing didn't allow it. The ballots were already ordered. Therefore, I would have had to have held a special election at a separate location than our polling place here. And we wouldn't have had poll workers. We don't have enough poll workers to go around. And because of being a statewide fall election, I would not be able to pull from other municipalities.
Thank you.
There were other reasons too. And let me go back to the cost item. As you'll see in item 6 also, that cost estimate is only based on one election. If we would have to end up having a primary, there will be 2 elections. So the cost would be higher.
Thank you, Peggy.
Any other discussion? I'm sorry, Greg.
As this obviously pertains to me with the recall, I recognize that we live in a government where power rests in the citizens that are voters, and with that power, I recognize that this was a possibility. It was certainly one that was not expected, but it's here, and I am willing to go along with what matters have taken place, I guess. But it is unfortunate that we have to front the additional $2,500 to run the election. In the event that the petitioners and those that signed the petition were to win in a hypothetical election, it's only going to replace me on the council for about 5 months, and so you're basically buying in a spot at the table up here for 5 months at the cost of $2,500, which I think is unfortunate to our taxpayers. I really would wish that we could just wait until next April and have a normal election and sort these things out then. But be it as it may, it is what it is.
Jeannie?
I agree with Greg. It's
A waste of taxpayers' money, as far as I'm concerned, too. 5 months isn't that long a time, really. But they've spoken and they want to have it, so I guess we will have a recall election. Right.
And the other thing, looking at the certificate of sufficiency here, it does note that I filed the challenge and so forth. The 3 main reasons that were brought on as to why this recall election is necessary, I still personally do not see those reasons as being valid for calling an election. But
Mayor?
I'm sorry, the audience members either signaling or making gestures. I don't know if it's at me or, I don't know, that going like this and
Yeah, we've always
somebody
seen
making
you.
gestures.
We've both seen you making
Yeah.
anyways,
Sorry. I mean, it's kind of rude when he can't carry them.
anyways, that's all right. So, I think that the reasons were insufficient, but it is what it is, and I still, to this day, hold fully that I did nothing in error up here, just doing my job, and when given the circumstances that were presented in front of me, I did what a statesman would do.
Okay, anyone else? Gloria?
I just have one comment, and actually Peggy, with the 2,500, does that include everything? Does that include the time that you have put in so far into getting this whole thing? Does that include the 2,500?
It's not.
How many hours have you already approximately put into this? 5?
No, more than that, but I can't even give an estimate.
Yeah. Okay, so it's probably cost, I'm gonna say, are you guessing that maybe it's with this and the 2,500, at least $5,000 we're looking at, with your hours?
I'm comfortable throwing out an estimate.
Okay, but I'm just gonna guess with the amount of hours you put in. If it's more than 10 hours, I'm gonna say 20 hours, and I believe it's probably been more than that, because I know this is new ground to be tread on, so I'm sure there was a lot more phone calls back and forth for you. So I'm looking at $5,000 for 5 months, which is $1,000 a month that we're paying. And to me, and excuse me for saying this, and I might just get pounded right into the ground for this, but it's a little bit of sour grapes. Thank you.
Mary Beth?
Just nothing is in this certificate of sufficiency about, the reasons, but one of the reasons for the recall was supposedly that Mr. Rose was showed anti-business actions, and since I've been on the council since April, every vote that had to do with business, with the TIF, anything like that, he consistently voted for everything that was pro-business. So there was nothing that, if his votes were examined, so there was not a careful examination of that.
Anything else? Okay, we need to have a roll call vote on?
Need a motion?
Motion, yes, that would be nice. I'm sorry.
What we're voting on?
We are going to vote on the matter of this recall petition, certificate of sufficiency and order as required by state statute. Do you have any?
understand that this is not a pro or con, it's just that he's presenting it to us and we're accepting it, or what's the deal, Vicki?
Yes, please.
You're accepting my certificate. Basically, you're agreeing that I process this in the proper manner, following all the guidelines set before me, and this is my results.
Bill?
I would so move that we accept the certificate of sufficiency and order as presented by the clerk.
Is there a second?
A second.
Motion by Zeiner, second by Rath to accept the certificate of sufficiency and order as presented by the clerk. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Steinert,
Yes.
Rose,
No.
Dunleavy,
No.
Rath,
Yes.
Rose,
Abstain.
Easter,
No.
Schley,
No.
Four to one. Motion failed.
2-4, 4 against, motion fails. What is the next step, please?
I will have to contact Gab. I spoke to another city that had this. The next step will be calling another special meeting. In the meantime, I will be contacting Gab, and Gab will be placing order of election.
What is yeah?
Government Accountability Board. This is my understanding, not official through the Government Accountability Board. This is speaking with another town that went through this. But we will be scheduling a special council meeting, and if the order is received from them prior to that, we will not have to have the council meeting.
Okay. Let's move on then to, Lori, I'll have you do the rec thing first in case you need to leave.
Okay, Park and Rec, there was, we're asking for, what is it, $10,000?
$1,028.
$10,028 for some skateboard equipment for down in our skate park. And we're going to be taking it from our regular rec center building fund, and then we will get that as donations are coming in. And maybe Justin, you want to give a little more info than I'm giving him?
We found this on the Wisconsin surplus, and it's from the city of Boston. Got some pictures here that I can hand out. I think they're in good shape. Weather-resistant material. Our previous units were all wood, untreated wood and steel, so they definitely weathered over the years. It's going to need a little TLC. We're going to have to give it a fresh paint job on all the units. I believe most of it's galvanized and aluminum, and we will need to replace the ramp surface on one of the half pipes, which we do that going into the bidding. But I think for a brand new ramp kit right now, we're talking $25,000. Being able to get this for a couple thousand less than half value, I think it was a great deal for us to move forward. It's something that'll be here this year. It should be here this year once we repaint it. So.
What did you say it's made out of?
From what I could see on there, it looks like a resin ramp surface and galvanized steel rails up above, and it looks like aluminum shell or a vinyl shell. Guy hasn't gotten back to me on the exact shell that enclosed the framing, but other than that, it looks like metal framing, the whole thing. I don't know if it's galvanized or aluminum. I couldn't tell you from looking at the pictures, but they're weather resistant.
Mary Beth?
I sat in on the Park and Rec meeting, and I asked this question, and perhaps taxpayers want to know that this skateboard project, the revitalization of the skateboard, which is park, which is now locked, and there's nothing in it, and I understand that part of the reason was there was vandalism and rowdiness, but the project is supposed to be a donation project. And so this, equipment came up, and I understand Justin, saw it on and bid on it, and it has been purchased. And so retroactively, we're approving it. I guess my feeling is that a decision obviously has been made somewhere that we're going to go ahead with the skateboard park and reopen it and furnish it and so forth. And I don't know when that decision. I did see something in the paper that an area founder, was starting a fund drive and that such. But I guess I think that a precedent of like going ahead and purchasing things without approval, I think we have to be very careful of that.
I'm just going to kind of answer on that, Mary Beth. We have been looking for this kind of stuff for the equipment for quite a while. And Justin, actually, they lucked out to find it, I think, and with the money, and I know it's coming from, some is coming from the namesake of the skate park. And the money does intend to be paid back basically through donation. And I guess sometimes you can't, when you see a gift horse, you don't, you just kind of, okay, take it by the horns and go with it. And I realize maybe it might not have been totally as it was, but we have been looking at this kind of equipment for quite a while. So it's like, it was good. Yes, Justin?
Well, technically it hasn't been purchased yet. We won the bid. We can deny the bid if we wanted to. I think it would be a mistake. The deadline is Thursday. This is the reason why it's on the special council meeting, is for your approval. So if you decide, okay, we're not going to go with it, that's your choice.
Thank
But
you, Justin. I didn't understand that when you
Yep.
presented it.
That's why it's on here. I also have, I talked to a Lions member this morning. They're willing to donate $2,500 on top of the $3,000 we have already. So we're looking at over half of it paid already in donations. And as they come in, I'm sure they will come in, just like all of our other memorial parks that we put up, like our disc golf. I guarantee it'll, at our time, it will be paid for.
I thought the purchase was.
It's won the bid. I did not.
Thank you.
I did not pay for it, so that's why it's on the agenda.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Bill?
Question for Justin. Excuse me. Do you have any way or any old records or anything on usage of that facility?
We have never accepted money to come in. We've never done attendance. That's something we can do in the future if you'd like. I've seen, Terry can probably speak up to that too, just patrolling.
Terry?
If I can answer that, the skate park, like any other activity, we get lots of kids, whether it's at the tennis courts or the ball diamond or swimming pool, you can have problems where kids are going to get into the little rips, and we had some of that at the skate park. But for the most part, it was a great place for a lot of kids that are into skateboarding. Keeps them off the sidewalks and off the streets where they run the chance of getting in if they hit by a car. It's a good place for them to hang out. The officers working second shift. Stop by there as much as they're able to, swing through there and visit with the kids and monitor it. So Gordy Norton spent a lot of time with me talking about this, and he really had a passion to get this done, and he did probably the bulk of it out of his own pocket. And it was a great place for the kids, but it was very limited in what they could do. Pieces like this that are safe to work, the kids crash and burn on it. They're not landing on steel, right? They're landing on composite or plastic, something that's not going to mar them up or injure them. So I think it's a good thing. But I'll be willing to provide a use of a large trailer and or tow vehicle to if people get this stuff.
Thank you, Terry. And I noticed that one of your guys were cleaning out the skate park area today. And I can't tell you how many kids asked me, when are we going to get our skate park back? Boy, are they going to be surprised that it's coming faster than we thought it would. So thank you to the Park and Rec Department for recommending the purchase.
Thanks, Justin, for finding it. And I'll make a motion that we okay this all and we buy it, pay for it.
I'll second it with new information.
Motion by Schley, second by Keister. Don Lady. I'm sorry. Maybe I have to have you switch seats and I won't get you mixed up. Second by Keister to go ahead and purchase the equipment for the skate park in the amount of $10,028 to come out of the Park and Rec Building Fund and to be replaced as the donations come in.
Building fund or equipment fund?
Part of the building fund. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Rouse,
Yes.
Dunleavy,
Yes.
Rath,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Easter,
Yes.
Schley. Yes. Steiner.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. I handed out just before we started how far I've gotten with the interim city administrator. I talked with Wally that you had suggested, and he's currently doing interim work for a Milwaukee firm. He said if he wasn't doing that commitment, he would have gladly come back to Clintonville to assist us. Having said that, he said, well, I do have a person that I can recommend to you that helped out in Kimberly when they needed an interim, and he said he did a wonderful job there, and that gentleman's name is Rick Herms. He's independent and worked at Kimberly. I did call the League of Municipalities, and they said that they do not get involved with the administrative side of the cities. So Gail Sumi from the League sent me the Wisconsin City Administrators Association number, and since that, we have received a couple of phone calls, one recommending William Forrest through the Wausau business. He was at Waiwega as an intern. And then Steve Schaefer from Whitewater. And then we know that someone was an intern at Bellevue, and we need to check that out yet. So we do have candidates, and I just like your suggestions on how we should proceed. Mary Beth.
Did you contact that firm that contacted us that said that it's a local firm that does this business? Did you contact him?
No, I didn't, because that was not in my directions.
Yeah, I guess I remember. I was just curious as to what their, maybe we should check to see what their rate is, and compare the rate when you get the rate. You have on here that, you asked Wally like what the going rate for interim administrators was, but it might be kind of interesting to compare the two.
Okay.
I
Jean.
think that was for hiring the position. That's why we didn't go that way.
They come in and fill in, Jeannie. That's
not the way the letter wrote.
Yeah, well, they also do the other thing, but
the letter they sent was not, and it was for a cost that they would help us with the search. And that's why we voted that. We weren't interested in that because there was a cost to hire them. That was the letter.
Yeah, but
that's what the letter said.
But the letter said that they could provide an interim, but then they also could do the other, and we said, well, we didn't want the other. I just was curious what they charge, because they would handle the personnel costs themselves. In other words, we would be contracting with them, and we wouldn't have to put this person on payroll. Just for a comparison, I like the other thought better, but I just think it might be good to just contact them and see what they charge.
I don't remember saying that. I didn't get that from that letter.
Okay. So what direction do you want me to go? Right?
Well, I would suggest that if Wally Thiel recommends this Rick Herms, that we contact him first.
Okay.
And then proceed with these other two that you have and arrange for, possible face-to-face consulting with these people and see where they're at.
An interview type.
An interview, yeah.
Okay. All right. Do we want to, just asking full council interview, or just the personnel committee? Yeah.
Can I point something out?
Yes.
Your budget workshop is October 14th, where the council usually gets presented with the budget put together. So, a time frame.
I'm going to have it. That's going to happen.
Well, we have to get it published in the paper.
Just I would ask that anybody that we would contact in this regard, for a city administrator position, interim or not, that they go through a full background check.
Oh, absolutely.
That goes anything, I think.
And, well, the police department is very versed in that sort of thing. I know they would do it.
Yeah, that's always been when we have them come in, interview, and then we have them sign a statement for the release of information. Gloria.
Okay, all I'm gonna say is, I think we've gotta do this sooner than later. So I'm saying it's snap, if you just wanna do a personnel committee, fine, or who can be here from the council. If you can pull it a little later in the day, later than, would be really good. If it could be later in the day, the later the better. That way I can be here and I don't have to worry, you know, and I can swing around a little bit.
We'll do the best that we can.
I know you will.
Mary Beth and then Greg.
So when you have dates and so forth that they can make a meeting, just notify us all either through phone call or email so that we can be here.
Right.
If we can make it.
Right. Well, as soon as we get that, my right-hand gal will send it out.
And Peggy's question, you know, the budget and the budget hearings, you know, the meetings are proceeding and the department heads are giving their input. So I assume that as the chairman of the finance committee, Marge is gathering that, you know, putting together all that input. Is that correct? And gathering information.
Well, it's been presented to finance.
Right.
And then at the October 14th meeting is the council workshop, I believe that's the date.
Correct.
And that's where the council in the past has been presented with the entire budget completed to begin working on it.
So what I'm saying is, you're saying, Peggy, that nobody's in charge of putting the whole thing together?
I can enter the numbers, but that's generally where somebody who has a different knowledge is knowing what they need to make happen.
Well, I think you need to just enter the numbers and we'll have to go with that. I mean, that's all we can do. So that would be adequate because then we get the numbers that are entered and then we have to make the decisions.
And Peggy's been keeping up with that as they've had the yes,
So that's October 14th.
for the full council meeting. Okay, any other discussion?
That's what the regular meeting is.
No, that,
Special meeting.
October 14th is our next regular meeting.
right, and it's part of that meeting.
Oh, it's okay.
But that date, 13th? Or is it 13th? Okay, it might be the 13th. Maybe morning.
Going for the count.
Scared me. Okay.
Andy.
I think that the budget,
The budget meeting is the 13th.
well, it's all on finance that night, isn't it, finance meeting that night?
Snap it up, kids. I don't have a copy of that information with me. We'll get it out to everybody. Okay, so my direction is to call Rick Herms, and if he's not available, go down the line, and we'll try and make this happen yesterday. Okay, we'll call in the morning, so.
I have a question. What if, you know, as long as we're having it, what if we schedule 1, 2, 3? I mean, if you could get more than one,
Well,
would there be anything wrong with, you know, giving us, asking all three if they possibly could come?
they're interims.
Well, I know, but then we could decide which one we like the best.
Yes, it makes no difference.
I mean, as long as they're, you know, calling and they're coming in and well,
If they're coming, they might already be employed. I don't know that until I call.
if more than one would be available, I would say have them both come, one come at, 45 minutes later, and, that's kind of customary.
Okay.
But you have another position first.
But it's interim, it's not like it's gonna be for the,
You still have to decide.
Okay.
are we all good?
We are all good.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Whoops, oh,
Let me ask a question. So did Greg make a motion that we're to contact Wally's first recommendation, and then if he wasn't available to go on?
I will formally make a motion.
But then that doesn't follow what was just said. I
If there was no motion made, then we need to make a motion,
I would
so.
make a motion that the mayor contact the 3 candidates that we have and see if they would all be available consecutively, or as many as would be available to come and be interviewed by as many of the council members and the personnel committee as are available. Both of them. Would you add that to your?
I found the dates.
The date?
Want to finish the motion though?
Yeah, I need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, the dates.
All right, so the date is October 13th, immediately following finance. That is the all-council workshop. October 27th is the newspaper publication deadline of the proposed budget. November 11th would be the regular council meeting, would include the public hearing for the budget, and the 18th of November would be a special meeting specifically budget adoption, November 18th.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. We have a motion by Keister, second by Rose, to have the mayor try and set up the 3 names that we have to come in and be interviewed. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Dunleavy,
Yes.
Rath,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Easter,
Yes.
Schley,
Yes.
Seinert,
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
Motion carried. Now you mean.
I make a motion.
Motion by Dunleavy, second by Schley to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Well, this money is endless.